In 1513, Niccolò Machiavelli wrote a letter, not to a king, not to a pope, to a merchant. In that letter, he revealed something he never put in The Prince, a hidden law of wealth, a principle so effective, so ruthless, that even today, those who understand it seem to be playing a different game. They don't just make money, they magnetize it. And to everyone else, it looks like cheating. But it's not cheating. It's understanding what Machiavelli truly knew about power and wealth. Tonight, we unlock that knowledge. This is the Hidden Codex. Niccolò Machiavelli, 1469 to 1527. Florentine diplomat, political advisor, strategist. Most people know him from The Prince, a book about political power. But that wasn't his only work, and it wasn't his deepest work. In his private correspondence, in his lesser-known writings, Machiavelli revealed something else. Not just how to gain power, but how to transmute power into wealth, how to structure reality itself, so that money flows toward you, not through labor, not through luck, through design, through understanding the invisible architecture of value. For centuries, this knowledge remained scattered, hidden in letters, buried in footnotes, until now. Before we continue, if you sense there's more to wealth than what they teach in business school, if you're tired of working hard while others seem to effortlessly accumulate, then you're in the right place. Subscribe to the Hidden Codex. Turn on notifications, because what comes next cannot be unlearned. Now, let's begin. Machiavelli observed something about money that most people never see. He noticed that in every city, every kingdom, every market, there were two types of people: those who chased money, and those who designed the conditions that made money chase them. The first group worked harder, took more risks, suffered more. The second group worked less, risked less, suffered almost nothing, and they accumulated 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times more wealth. Why? Machiavelli called it the architecture of necessity. Here's how it works. Money doesn't flow randomly. It flows along lines of dependency. Whoever controls what others need controls the flow. But here's what most don't understand. You don't need to control the thing itself. You only need to control access to it. The bridge, the gate, the connection. Machiavelli wrote in a letter to Francesco Vittori, "He who controls the passage controls the kingdom, not he who owns the land on either side." Think about that. Not ownership, access. This is why middlemen, brokers, platforms become wealthy beyond reason. They don't create value. They control the pathway to value. And once you control the pathway, everyone must pay you to pass. So how does this work in practice? Let's say there's a product, a service, a skill in demand. Most people try to be the best at delivering it. Better quality, lower price, faster service. They compete. But if you understand Machiavelli's principle, you don't compete. You position yourself as the gateway. You become the one who connects the need to the solution. And here's what happens. Both sides pay you. The person with the need pays for access. The person with the solution pays for exposure. You don't create anything. You don't compete with anyone. You simply exist in the right position. That's the first law, the architecture of necessity. But Machiavelli went deeper. He noticed something else, something darker. He saw that the wealthiest people in Florence, in Rome, in Venice, they didn't just control pathways. They controlled perception. Specifically, they controlled what people believed was valuable. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. What he meant was this: reality doesn't matter. Perception does. If people believe something is valuable, it becomes valuable. If people believe something is rare, it becomes expensive, even if it's neither. This is the second law, the manipulation of perceived value. And once you understand it, you see it everywhere. Diamonds, not rare. Controlled supply, manufactured scarcity. Designer brands, not better quality. Controlled image, manufactured exclusivity. Certain universities, not better education. Controlled access, manufactured prestige. The product doesn't matter. The perception does. Machiavelli understood this 500 years ago. He advised the Medici family, control what men desire, and you control men. Control what men believe is desirable, and you control desire itself. That's power, not just over money, over the very meaning of value. So how do you use this today? Let's say you offer something, a service, a product, a skill. Most people position it by its features, what it does, how it works. But if you understand Machiavelli's law, you position it by its scarcity. You limit availability, not because it's actually scarce, but because scarcity creates desire. You attach it to status, not because it's actually superior, but because status multiplies perceived value. You control the narrative around it, not by lying, but by carefully shaping what people see. And here's what happens. People don't buy the thing. They buy the belief about the thing, and they'll pay 10 times more for the exact same thing, wrapped in the right perception. That's not manipulation. That's understanding human nature. Machiavelli didn't invent this. He simply observed it and wrote it down. 3 years after The Prince, Machiavelli wrote something else, something he never published. In his personal notes, recovered centuries later, he described what he called the invisible hand of fortune. Not luck, not chance, a pattern. He noticed that certain people seemed to attract opportunity again and again. Deals came to them. Resources flowed toward them. People offered them advantages without being asked. It looked like luck, but Machiavelli saw something else. He saw that these people had mastered what he called the art of strategic visibility. They made themselves visible to the right people at the right time for the right reasons, but invisible to everyone else. This is the third law, strategic visibility. Most people do one of two things. They're either invisible to everyone or visible to everyone. Both fail. If you're invisible, opportunity can't find you. If you're visible to everyone, you attract noise, distraction, envy, interference. But if you master strategic visibility, you appear only where value concentrates. Machiavelli wrote, "The wise man plants seeds where the soil is rich, not where the field is vast." Translation: don't cast a wide net. Concentrate your presence where decision-makers gather, not the masses, the gatekeepers, not the crowd, the influencers, not everyone, the ones who control access to everyone. So how does this work in practice? Let's say you want to grow your wealth, your business, your influence. Most people try to reach everyone. Social media, advertising, mass exposure. It's exhausting, expensive, inefficient. But if you understand Machiavelli's law, you don't go wide, you go precise. You identify the 10 people who, if they knew you, could open 100 doors. Then you make yourself visible to them, only them. You offer value. You solve a problem they have. You become useful, not servile, useful. And here's what happens. They remember you, they talk about you, they introduce you, and suddenly, opportunities appear. Not because you worked harder, not because you got lucky, because you positioned yourself in the flow. That's the third law. But here's where it gets disturbing. Machiavelli discovered something else, something he only hinted at in The Prince, something he explained more fully in private letters. He called it the cycle of dependency. And once you see it, you see the game behind all games. Here's how it works. Wealth doesn't come from providing value once. It comes from creating a system where people must return to you, over and over, not because they want to, because they have to. Machiavelli observed this in the salt trade, in grain distribution, in land ownership. Whoever controlled the recurring necessity controlled the wealth, not the one-time purchase, the recurring need. This is why subscriptions, memberships, platforms dominate the modern economy. They don't sell you something once. They sell you access, repeatedly. And once you're in, leaving costs more than staying. Machiavelli wrote, "The prince who makes his people dependent on him for their daily bread will never be overthrown. For hunger is a stronger force than freedom." Dark words, but true. So how does this apply to you? Let's say you offer something valuable. Most people sell it once. A product, a service, a transaction, payment, delivery, done. But if you understand Machiavelli's principle, you don't sell the thing. You sell access to the thing. You sell the system. You sell the relationship. You create a structure where the customer must return. Not because you tricked them, but because you embedded yourself into their operation. You became infrastructure. And here's what happens. Your income stops being transactional. It becomes recurring. Your value stops being questioned. It becomes assumed. Your position stops being optional. It becomes necessary. That's when wealth becomes inevitable. That's the fourth law, the cycle of dependency. Now let's go even deeper. In 1520, 7 years before his death, Machiavelli wrote a series of letters. They were addressed to a young merchant in Venice. The letters were never meant for publication, but they were preserved. And in them, Machiavelli revealed something he never put in any of his books, a principle he called the art of profitable friction. Here's what he meant. Most people try to make everything smooth, frictionless, easy. They think that's how you attract customers, clients, opportunities. But Machiavelli saw something else. He saw that certain kinds of friction increase value, not obstacles, not inconvenience, strategic difficulty. Machiavelli wrote, "That which is easily obtained is easily discarded. That which requires sacrifice is cherished." Think about that. If something is too easy to get, people don't value it. But if they have to work for it, wait for it, prove themselves worthy of it, they assign it higher value, even if the thing itself hasn't changed. This is why luxury brands make you wait, why exclusive clubs have wait lists, why certain consultants are fully booked. It's not always true, but the friction creates the perceived value. Machiavelli understood this 5 centuries ago. So how do you use this? Let's say you offer something. Most people try to make it as accessible as possible. Low barrier to entry, instant availability. Easy, yes. But if you understand Machiavelli's principle, you add strategic friction. Not to frustrate people, to filter them. You create a process, an application, a qualification. You make people demonstrate commitment before you engage. And here's what happens. The ones who pass through that friction value you more, pay you more, stay longer. because they invested to get access. That investment creates attachment. That's the fifth law, profitable friction. But Machiavelli warned about something most people who chase wealth never consider. He wrote in The Prince, "Men are so simple and so subject to present necessities that he who seeks to deceive will always find someone who will allow himself to be deceived." Translation: it's easy to get rich by deceiving people. But, and here's where Machiavelli diverged from pure cynicism, that kind of wealth is unstable because it's built on lies, and lies require energy to maintain, more energy than the wealth is worth. Machiavelli wrote in a private letter, "The fox is clever, but the wise fox knows when to stop playing the fox." What he meant was this: yes, you can manipulate. Yes, you can deceive. Yes, you can extract value through tricks and games. But sustainable wealth, the kind that lasts, that compounds, that doesn't require constant vigilance, comes from something else. Machiavelli called it the appearance of virtue backed by actual capability. In other words, you can control perception, but you must deliver reality. You can position yourself strategically, but you must actually provide value. You can create dependency, but that dependency must serve both sides. Because if it doesn't, eventually people realize. They rebel, they leave, they destroy your system. Machiavelli wrote, "A prince must have the cunning of the fox, but also the strength of the lion. Without the strength, the cunning is worthless." So here's the paradox. To make wealth that looks like cheating, you must actually be excellent. Not at everything, but at something. The positioning, the perception, the strategic visibility, those amplify your value. But there must be value to amplify. Otherwise, you're just a con artist. And con artists don't build empires. They burn bright, then collapse. Machiavelli saw this again and again. In Florence, in Rome, in every court he advised. The schemers who relied only on schemes always fell. But the ones who combined strategy with substance, those became dynasties. So let's put it all together. Machiavelli spent decades observing power, not just political power, economic power. He studied merchants, bankers, landowners, traders. He saw patterns, the architecture of necessity. Control the pathway, not the product. The manipulation of perceived value. Reality doesn't matter. Belief does. Strategic visibility. Appear where value concentrates. Invisible everywhere else. The cycle of dependency. Don't sell once. Embed yourself into their system. Profitable friction. Make them work for access. It increases perceived value. And the final principle. The one he whispered but never shouted. Excellence as foundation. Strategy amplifies value, but there must be value to amplify. These aren't tricks, they're not hacks. They're the invisible laws that govern how wealth moves through human systems. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. You start noticing them everywhere, in every successful business, every powerful person, every empire. They're using these principles, consciously or unconsciously, and you can too. Not by deceiving people, not by cutting corners, but by understanding the architecture and positioning yourself within it. Machiavelli wrote in his final letter to Vittori, "Fortune favors not the bold, but the prepared." And preparation is simply seeing what others refuse to see. So what is it that others refuse to see? That wealth is not a reward for hard work. It's a consequence of strategic positioning. That value is not objective. it's constructed. That opportunity doesn't knock randomly. It flows along predictable channels. And if you position yourself in those channels, you don't chase wealth. Wealth flows to you, not because you're lucky, not because you're gifted, because you understand the game. Machiavelli saw something most refuse to see, not because it's complicated, but because it's uncomfortable. Because once you see it, you realize that the playing field was never level, that the rules you were taught were designed to keep you playing small, that the people who win aren't necessarily the best, the hardest working, the most talented. They're the ones who understand the hidden architecture. And once you understand it, everything changes. The question is, are you ready for that change? Or will you keep pretending that hard work alone is enough? Most people pretend, but you're still here. So maybe you're different. If this opened your eyes to something hidden, if you want more of this ancient wisdom that actually works in the modern world, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Because here at the Hidden Codex, we don't stop at the surface. We go deeper, into the strategies they don't teach, into the knowledge they tried to bury. Next time, we'll explore something even more powerful. The hidden teachings of Sun Tzu on invisible influence. How to win without anyone knowing there was a battle. You don't want to miss that. Until then, stay awake.